same thumbnail picture. Chat scrolls fast as the crew rolls richer. Late nights, charts bright, Pulsechain dreams on a budget light. I was lost in a sea of maybe, found this show, now the game don't faze me. What the heck? We've been here a minute. Same bad jokes, new blocks every visit. Hey you guys, it's yelling with the fam. Click that link, let it run, let it jam. What the heck's from the first weird stream to a pulse chain pop in a bull run dream. We don't flex, we just press go live. What the heck's we ride. DJ laughing at his own one-liners. Papa Boner with the Trezor reminders. Replay crew in the comments laughing. I was right here when that clip was captured. Timestamp legends, ink-side mentions. OGs teaching all the fresh extensions. Toby with the chart guru. Fractals on display, showing the way. Peter from Slovakia, limit order frustration in the mix. But we push through, no time for tricks. What the heck's? We've been here a minute. Same bad jokes, new blocks every visit. Hey you guys, it's yelling with the fam. Click that link, let it run, let it jam. What the heck's from the first weird stream to a pulse chain pop in a bull run dream. We don't flex, we just press go live. What the heck's we ride. What the heck's we live. What the heck's we live. Outro slow on that final beat. Crew forever, can't be beat. What the heck, yeah, that's our call. Pulsechain family, we stand tall. Prove X, prove sex. What the heck's?
What the hex is you guys talking about?
Good morning, you guys. When Bob's.
Okay, I know the word maxi's kind of rough, right? But a lot of us are kind of like hex maxis, right? Listen, I could be tolerant, man. You guys do whatever you want to do, right? I'm like, everything I learned from Richard Hart, right, about crypto worked. And every time I don't follow that, it fails, right? So, and then but I keep doing it, right? So, because I got to fail, I got to have some sort of experiment like that, you know?
We do know that you will always get paid in HEX on a daily basis. And that is truly the miracle that we call HEX, because it is trustless interest, trustless yield. Nothing will stop that contract from running.
What the hex are you guys talking about?
Har. Heart, mate. Heart.
We've got dads, we've got Mr. Boner. Like, we've got a guy named Pop a Boner, and he's really smart as well. Crypto security, fans. Obviously, you know, also don't go Paris, France. Hey, just watch my juicy news, okay?
Okay, who put Pulsechain on a Times Square billboard? You win.
What the hex is going on, ladies and gentlemen?
So long story short, I think Pulsechain and HEX and PulseX are amazing. And I think all they need is some marketing. And I think having a cool new project that doesn't have as much competition as layer ones or DEXs can work well. Because if what you're trying to do isn't working, you have to rotate. If people were interested in what you had, they would have it already. You have to rotate your pitch. You have to try different things. So if you say this is to on-ramp new users to this thing, and then people check the chart and they don't like the chart, they're not going to like the new thing. If you say the new thing is to help all chains, amplify all chains, transcend chains, you end up with users that don't care to check other charts because it doesn't matter as much, because they're not, the reason the thing exists is on its own.
It's been 4 years. How much longer, bro? It's been 4 years, man. Like, we've defied everything. This is, you know, crypto year is 4 times a stock market year. So we've literally been holding 16 years.
What the heck?
What the heck?
Oh, wow.
What an intro.
What an intro.
Hello,
Man,
gentlemen.
episode 155, very special episode on a Saturday. It's 3 o'clock somewhere, I guess. So everybody's on a different time right now. We got BB Crypto and Crypto Ewok in the house from the Creed of Crypto show. And, you know, this today was supposed to be like a very fun and joyous occasion. You know, we would talk smack about all the other streamers who left us in the bear market. But, of course, what happened today in the last 24 hours, the world is at war. So
No, wait, stop.
It's
It is a happy
crazy.
time. It's a happy celebration because the Ayatollah bit
Yeah.
his own assahola.
Breaking news literally just broke. Let's get this out the way before the show. That they say the Ayatollah Khomeini has been confirmed dead and his body has been found. So that's pretty crazy. Also developing story here that the Strait of Hormuz has now been effectively closed by Iranian forces.
No, it hasn't.
Well,
Fake news.
Mario says it, so it's got to be true.
No,
and here you
it's
see
not true.
the tankers are reversing back.
Clogging up. Yeah, guess what? we USA.
Who is we? USA. Okay, you guys.
sank their biggest ship.
Oh,
with
really?
all the goodies that were used to stop the Strait of Hormuz. So anything else will be only temporary. Please don't freak out, world, that your shipping lanes will be disrupted for very long, because it's all good. So don't worry about it. It was unexpected that they would that the joint forces would be able to hit that ship and cripple it immediately on day one. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, you say don't
Congratulations
worry,
and
but
Javid Shah to all my Persian friends in the diaspora. This is yours.
this is your
Don't
moment.
get
Yeah, I have some Iranian co-workers as well here in Germany, and they have been pretty like in terribly state after, you know, the protests have been mowed down as they have, and they were looking forward to this kind of action right now. But it kind of hits home, you know, when you see then shrapnel falling down over Dubai and Bahrain, and you know, a residential tower apparently has been hit in Bahrain, and you know, a lot of crypto guys are living down there. Heck, even Richard Hart might be living down there.
Yeah, well,
So
yeah.
it
Please
is.
no shrapnel on Richard Hart.
Yeah,
No,
we don't need that to happen.
But you know what? I'm sorry to say that there's a silver lining to this. Have you seen the coalition is actually growing for every missile that hits Saudi Arabia, for example. Now they're very much pro go get Iran and
Dubai,
also
same thing.
UAE also says, hey, we're behind this too now. Well, so goes Saudi, so goes UAE sometimes because they're kind of an offshoot. They live by the grace of the UAE. But anyway, enough about politics.
Yeah, enough about that. Let's say hi to the chat, and then we go into the whole story of the Creed
we
of
haven't let
Crypto.
them say a damn syllable yet. So,
Absolutely.
gentlemen, welcome.
Hold your tongue, Papa Vita.
Sorry.
DJ Dougie is first.
I'm amped up, yeah.
Mr. Nakumescu, good to see you. Number 2, and Checks My Pulse, who wrote the lyrics on the intro song. I made another remix. I can't help it. This is now the country version. So we have a reggae version, a country version, a hip hop version.
Nice.
So we'll switch them out each.
Checks My Pulse has been busy making music for everybody.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, Checks My Pulse is on his grind. I was going to say at that intro, you guys, neither of you strike me as country boys. I don't know if that's
well
on my part.
Well, Papa B hates it. I love it.
I don't like the country thing, but I will say this. The reason I don't like country music is because my dad's from Texas, and he would turn on that twingy stuff all the time, especially in the mornings, like getting ready for school, like 6:30 a.m. I'm like brushing my teeth and I'm hearing that shit kicker music.
And that was probably old school country.
Old school, yeah. We would get that. The slow stuff in the morning, trying to wake up to that is not fun.
I'm with you there.
But BB Crypto, let's talk about the Creed of Crypto show, which is on every Wednesday, very late at night time for me. So I never get to watch you guys live because like 3 a.m. And but I'm on the replay as often as I can. When did you guys start, and what was your thought process behind starting a community stream like that?
Ewok and I had known each other IRL for a few years before that, and kind of had this mutual interest. I mean, he I'll let him speak to this part, but I mean, he was pretty much a Hex OG and pulled me down for this ride.
Onboarded
pretty quickly, and honestly, I think it was Ewok. You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like it was his idea. We were having a fireside chat, quite literally, which we do in the fall evenings. And
on a bearskin rug, or what kind of fireside chat was it?
On a rug of grass while watching college football and imbibing in a few drinks, probably. But
in the grass, nice.
He said to me, like, I've always had a background in broadcasting and production and stuff like that, and he was kind of putting the idea out to me, like, what if we started this? And I immediately was like, that's a great idea. We started actually as just a podcast, if you can believe that. So that probably no one downloaded or listened to. But we had, I don't know how many episodes under our belt before we decided to get on the YouTubes and get into the 21st century. So if you look on Spotify for Creed of Crypto, I think we're one of the very few that we have a standing podcast that comes out every week as well. It's not just our show. So, and a lot of people listen to it on that platform. But yeah, that. If you go back, you'll see our first episode in September of 2021. We were so young and innocent then. But that's pretty much the story. And yeah, we've been doing this every Wednesday night at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. for the last 4+ years and going strong. So
yeah, and you're doing really well. You have 5,000 followers there on YouTube alone. I don't know about the Spotify. We're on Spotify too, but it's really early beginnings. We get a lot of impressions.
We got one follower.
Yeah, no, we have I don't know how many followers. It's a few. It's not 100. I think it's below 100, but it's something. But we get like 200-300 impressions for every show. But then I don't know how many actually go and listen to it. But you have to start somewhere, I guess. Yeah, but you're doing really well on YouTube.
It's different for us though. What you do for Spotify is unique content to your streams, right?
No, it's the same. It's
the same.
It's a produced for podcast. I mean, it's a podcast without the bells and whistles of YouTube, basically. But
okay, because DJ just thought on a whim that he would repackage what we do already on this stream as an audio version and put it on Spotify.
Yeah.
So maybe we're cheating in that respect, but I've listened to it, and actually I sometimes I like not seeing Peter moaning and Toby crying in his beer. But yeah, that's cool.
We're all
exactly
more attractive in that version.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. We just take the audio file, and BB does everything. He uploads it immediately, takes the audio file, and just throws it right to Spotify. I think we have. Are we still at like 100 views or listens a week?
I so at it in a while. Yeah, I so rarely check Spotify listens, but yeah, it gets 100 or so downloads a week or something like that.
Nice, but that's really good. Yeah.
Speaking of down, awesome. Our community is chin up in a down market. What do you make of this? I mean, I was going to say off the bat, DJ, we represent in this snapshot in time.
In this screen here,
this screen represents the last of the weekly broadcasters in our community, and we hope that that's not the case. We hope that this is like kind of the Bollinger Band bottleneck of streamers. We're going to get a whole blossom of new people coming in and doing this because it's a lot of fun, especially if you can commiserate with other people as your bags slowly lose their value. But how did you stick through it, through everything thick and thin, to remain a weekly, force in this community? What motivates you to do this?
Well, just consistency. I mean, we started with very few followers, obviously, as everybody does. And, we keep saying to ourselves, man, not in the mood to do this, almost weekly, but then we get started and we have fun talking about it. And I think it helps us get through the tough times. Just knowing that there's other people out there listening too that feel the same way. We're definitely not the only ones affected by this. Just trying to keep people positive. I've eliminated so much of my Twitter X feed because of that. And
you're on the blockeronies.
Well, no, I'm on the muteroni. I don't like to block people too much. But there are some that deserve it, however. But I mute a lot of, because I have a feeling once things do turn around, they'll be back. And it's tough. It is a very tough mental ride that we're on right now. Yeah. I know, I've been here since early 2017. And I don't know that we've seen a bear market this bad, obviously, or a bull market that really just didn't happen. So, it's a first. It's a first for everybody. But I truly believe that things will turn around. I just think that the more people that have gotten into crypto, the more people that this space brings in, and the more predictable that it had become, something had to change, right? You can't just know exactly what's going to happen every 4 years. It's like clockwork. It doesn't work that way. And I really think that has been the main catalyst for this weird market. Then you've got all the corporations now that are involved in putting Bitcoin and Ethereum on their balance sheets, and it's gotten strange. So I think it needed to change. And back to the original question, though, knowing full well that there are other people going through this, and me being a more positive person, I just want to help people through it. I know it's going to get better, and that's the goal, is just to help people through this rough time.
Yeah. I think for us, we also want to help people through it, but we also kind of want to help Richard sort of continue to promote everything that we've got going on here, because he's getting lots of backlash from the community at the moment. We spoke about that in the green room briefly, and there is not many people left that still hold the line with him. How do you see Richard at the moment? Because to me, he has not really changed. Like but we have a different, when you hear day one, we got to see a different Richard in the first 2 years than what there is now. And I'm kind of feeling sorry for the new people who joined in 22, 23, who seeing now a very remote Richard not as active, not as involved, because in the first year he was on streams, he was on the FN Hangout, on a few Fridays. You could DM him, ask questions to him on Telegram. He was very approachable. He was hanging in my Twitch music chats sometimes, just chatting with the guy, talking about headphones and monitor speakers. Like, those were the best of times. So I know that he's out there and that he cares and that he very much is interested what is happening with his products.
Yeah.
And the people who only joined, after 22, 23 maybe, didn't get to see that. How do you view Richard at the moment and how he's behaving?
I can take that too. There was something in the intro that you had. I found very interesting and kind of fitting to this, where
the sound that BB Crypto made, or
no, not that one, not that one. But
my hair was pretty fucked up a few years.
It needs more auto tune.
Yeah, right. Wah, wah, wah. But it was the segment when Richard was saying,
yes,
if we launch a new product and they see down charts, do they keep looking?
Yeah.
And it made me think, we got ProveX coming, right? What's going to happen to these charts? Are we going to have to get them turned around before he launches it? Because he said it himself, if you have a product that launches and all the charts look like shit, what's the point of launching it? So it makes me wonder, now, because originally I had thought, well, this is going to come out a little bit faster than everything's ready. Looks like it's in beta. The sacrifices have been calculated, what it looks like anyway. But that it made me stop and think. I'm like, oh shit, are we going to get a pump earlier here than maybe what we had thought? Are we going? But I do feel bad for the new people that are coming in now, not seeing the Richard that we saw as a educator. I think that was his main role, was an educator. We learned so much about crypto and the minutia of it and how it worked and why we were here in the first place, right? Get rid of the middlemen. That's been his MO the whole time, is to remove middlemen.
Yes.
We constantly see new things, injecting middlemen, people getting robbed all the time. And it's frustrating, because we need that. You need that voice to teach people the right way. I know Papa does a great job with security, but enough people don't listen. You know what I mean? You don't have the 300,000 followers, or you know what I mean, to make the difference that Richard did. Because again, that's the biggest part that I miss, is educator Richard, not so much dickhead, I'm going to battle I'm going to debate you and put you in your place. To me, that was good a little bit.
That was entertaining.
It was entertaining, but I missed the educator side of Richard. And I feel bad that the newer people don't get to see that. They don't get to see the sincerity and care levels that I saw back in the day, where he really, truly wants to help people. So,
yeah,
that's my stance.
And I will say this, as far as like opinions of him right now, or opinions on what he's doing or not doing. I mean, we've had this conversation on our show ad nauseum. I mean, the market conditions right now, it would be stupid. You don't have the wind in your sails, and that's not unique to Pulsechain. I mean, we've talked about that too, but he's not going to put all these resources, and that I'm using that word as a broad word. I don't mean money. I don't mean tablets, all of it, like any resources. I just don't think you're going to put tons of it into things right now when you don't have the tailwinds behind you. So, as excruciatingly difficult as these last few years have been, and with no appearance of an end in sight for a lot of crypto, again, if you're him, and you're trying to think, what would I do different? I know there's a lot of armchair quarterbacks out there, as we say here in the U.S., that are trying to, game plan this for him and what I would have done and all this stuff. But I think we've seen what happens when resources have been used in the last couple of years. And that hasn't brought any momentum. So I wouldn't be doing it either if I were him.
Yeah. there have been test purchases allegedly, you know, a few 100,000 here and there, but it has immediately been sold down. So there is
Slap
no
right down.
point to deploy that. Although there has been development just this week with liquidity, I think. Did you guys monitor that? That the liquidity has seriously been reduced across the board now, which I thought is an indicator of maybe that ProVex launch is imminent. Something is cooking in the background.
Well, I think it has to do with the experiment that Richard maybe suggested to everybody, and that was moving from the main pair of Pulse to USD or DAI or even staked DAI, which was his initial, request, or not request, but suggestion, I should say, so that things can kind of fluctuate on their own merit rather than being tied together by this thing that we've always called Hart's Law. It's good. It would be great for when everything is going up, but it has the inverse effect when everything is coming down. Even if the cells aren't in hex or whatever, PulseX, Pulse, both can bring it down dramatically. So I think this is probably an early part of what we're seeing with the liquidity reducing, is people kind of shifting into that and trying it. I would like to see it. I haven't checked it. I probably should look at it, but the Pulse X, the ink farms for that bone, if there's some sort of incentive for people to do that, because you are risking heavily your impermanent loss by moving those pairs to a USD, some sort of stable coin pair. So I think you really need to have some sort of incentive to kind of give people a reason to do it. So I hope
Can we
that
check
follows.
that out? Yeah, can we check that out real time, DJ? Can we see what the incentive rates are? Yeah, if you can.
Well, the farms are not that juicy. Let me see.
Yeah,
I have to go.
That's what I had a kind of head scratcher. It's like
I'm looking on mobile right now, and it's basically what it's been. Like, the PulseX farm is just up there. It's 0.53 APR.
But what about say Hex versus USDC? Is there a Hex USDC pair?
The liquidity on the old school OG farms is still there, but the incentive is like 0.5% or so. So it's not really.
So,
let me see. I have to go jump some
that's
hoops now.
my question.
You're putting me,
how do you other than saying, "Hey, loyal people, do this and risk this"? Wouldn't you think, if it was serious, like a serious push, that both the APR would rise and the ink token would be something he could kind of pull the strings on to increase in value? Both those are clearly breaks that are still applied, I think. So there's more ammunition for later, I suppose.
And there is no farm for those right now.
there is the Pulse X farms is the first one here, so it's still good liquidity, but this is now 0.5% APR. This is the one farm I used to mine when the chain launched, or I used to farm on. Back then it was 10% APR.
At the lowest, really. Ewok and I did it too, and it would go up to over 20 sometimes too. It fluctuated in there.
But then on the stablecoin farms, you still get between 7, 6, 10% if you farm Pulsechain with bridged in Ethereum, bridged in USDC, and liquidity is solid, but it's not much what you can
I would
do.
think there would be one added though with USDC from Ethereum and Hex, and USDC from Ethereum and PulseX. Like, I think that's the goal, that according
that's
to
all
his
there
post.
is.
But there isn't. It's just Pulse right now.
It's just Pulse.
So just please do it, my loyal followers.
Just in closing, when the farms were still as they were before the OA started these massive hex stakes, the liquidity on the chain was 500 million, I think, And then when the farms got reduced to this sort of a payout, it was 100 million immediately because people, withdrew their liquidity from the farms because it wasn't, valid anymore. And today we're looking at 38 million. So like for the whole chain, that has come down like serious. Yeah.
Well, the price affects that too. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Correct. That's not helping the price.
Well, I was going to ask you guys about that because when you started talking about liquidity, DJ, Ewok and I talked about that this week. Like, at what point, like obviously we talk about the low liquidity and a lot of the decisions that were made over the last couple of years of cutting the ink inflation, the huge hex stakes, like you mentioned, all these things in an effort to easily pump the chain. Well, as Ewok pointed out with Hart's Law, I mean, we've gone the other way and it's had exponential effect the other way.
Downside,
and and now Richard himself is bringing this up, like we just talked about this week, talking about stables and stuff like that. So how long do you kind of let this go, I guess, is my question, in terms of, and I don't mean like to shake out the weak hands and all that shit, but I mean, how long, like nobody knows where the Bitcoin price is going to go or the Ethereum price. I mean,
I do.
Okay. Well, please let us know.
No, we're not.
That's a secret. Yeah, I wouldn't tell either. But essentially, when do you want to stop the bleeding, I guess, or at least let the bleeding, not gush all over our bodies, So I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think of that? Is Richard talking about this liquidity stuff with stables in an effort to do that? Maybe I'm not sure.
Just to cauterize the wound, so to speak.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, we have to be close. I mean, you see so many people who've been around for years now capitulating. This thing a week ago with, I keep coming back to this, with Hex Siren or Grace. I'm sure you've seen that because that kind of went viral. That she said all my house money and all of that, because people have over leveraged, it seems, which is what everybody that is responsible always said not to do, but people did, and we're hoping on a faster success with Pulsechain, and now, as you say, it's dragging down 5 years and now has reached its worst point at the moment. So when you've not over leveraged and still have a day job like we do, then I guess you can sit that through. But if you depended on that as some sort of an income, or the ink farms as an income, then you're pretty much screwed right now. And I think, to your question, this shouldn't go on for much longer, because then there may not be much of a community left. I think it's pretty destructive at the moment. But at the same time, I like to think that Richard knows this and is aware of this. He sees what's going on. He's watching streams. He has these Twitter lists where even if he doesn't follow people, he still knows what they are tweeting. He's always done that. So I'm pretty sure he's aware, but there must be, I'd like to still believe that there is a higher strategy, and maybe we are close to this coming to an end. Nobody knows, but that's how I would hope it to be. Yeah.
Well, can I ask you, because you're reminding me, this is what we were talking about in the green room, and this isn't to like call out anybody specific, because I'm not even interested.
Name names.
Interested. Trust me, by the things I say, everybody will probably know who I mean anyway. But we talked about like people that have been in the community that have felt spurned over the last couple of years and are as one might say, fudding their own bags, or they claim that they have sold and moved on. Like there's one person I'm thinking of that has been very vocal in his disdain of all these things for the last couple of years, that supposedly has sold and moved on. And I heard Sami bring this up the other day, and Sami actually asked this person directly this on Twitter without an answer, was, well, interesting that you sold. What did you rotate into? And they don't answer. So I just, what are these people actually doing? And if you're not interested, and if you did actually sell and move on, why do you keep talking about it? And that's something I find really interesting as like a psychological character thing, is that gives me the confidence that like we are cockroaches. Like, can this thing be? You know what I mean? Because they are moving on. They've sold, rotated into something else allegedly, but can't get off Richard Hart's dick. You know what I mean?
I think I have an answer in a couple parts. Am I frozen? I think I'm frozen.
No,
you're good. You're good.
Oh, everyone's just like, where?
Papa.
Yeah, I think misery loves company, and I think that's the basis of a human psyche. Is I want to reach out and cause a stir and get a mob together for the feels, and I want to lash out at something. And if enough people are together and motivated to feel my way, then I'm not the responsible party for being evil or being negative or being sad or being angry. We are a collective of being angry, sad, cheated, bamboozled. And of course, when you ask these people, to what end, what is your goal, how do you see this playing out, they can't come up with an answer, because the idea, that feeling that's in our freaking, lizard part of our brains, that doesn't get answered. That's not the goal. The goal is, I want to wah, wah, wah. I want more people. Now, some psychopaths in history have taken it further, and you get really bad things happen. But in general, people that get together and have some grievance or complaint just want to feel bad and spread badness, miserable behavior. So this is a financial game. It's wrought with people catering to their own greed and miserability. There are some on the curve that we always see in that meme that are in the center that are really down with it. They're smart.
Now you
take the blows. They can take the down. They can. All the dipshits are on both sides of the bell curve, and they just want to complain and get more people complaining. That's my answer to it. I don't think that they're. I mean, look. What's the other conclusion? You're going to scratch your head forever saying, why do I get crickets when I ask somebody, why are you calling Richard a scammer? What are they motivated by? We always say to ourselves, maybe they're being paid by some weird ham that moves somewhere. But the truth is that that's deep down in them. They just want to complain and see if there's anybody else that will join in and give them likes and get behind them.
I think they're just trying to FUD the price. I think that's another motivation.
There's another motivation.
They are in secret actually buying, but wouldn't say so in public. And I think they're just trying to FUD to bring morality and price down, which I think is dangerous, because you might lose a lot of people for good in the long run, those who don't understand their tactics. But I think in part that also plays the reasons. The same with the Bitcoin community. You have so many FUDders that are secretly, they're just talking it down whenever something happens, and but secretly they are buying. And as soon as there are green candles, you don't see them FUDding again. It's only when the red candles come, then they're out in throws. They are like cockroaches. They're out and then just talking it down. I think that's also a tactic, using psychological warfare, if you will, on unsavvy investors, because the Bitcoin fundamentals never change. Whether the price is 120K or it's 60K or it's 15K, Bitcoin is still Bitcoin. Like, why should it's not that blocks are produced slower all of a sudden, or on the contrary, or it's not being adopted. There is way more adoption now than it was 2017, when some of us started. Now all the banks have it and ETFs are approved and all that. Like, why would you FUD that? The fundamentals have not deteriorated. They have become better. It doesn't matter where the price sits, but they still come out and FUD it. And I think we have some of that as well in the community.
I also think that you can't forget that we do live in a instant gratification type era, where there is all the online gambling and the just instant dopamine things that people are used to. They're not used to waiting through these tough times. You know, they want it now. They want it instantly. They want that lottery ticket, and they're not getting it. You know, so I think that plays a lot of a part in some of what you're seeing too with people's reactions and hatefulness, and they thought this is going to happen now. This, you know, we all did. We all thought by the end of 2025 we would have some sort of bull market, and when it didn't, people got really salty really fast. So
yeah,
I understand it, but again, you know, back to Richard the Educator, where the delayed gratification thing is coming into play, and you know, could this be part of the master plan? You know, who knows? But I definitely want to stick around to find out.
Exactly. And maybe it's also because it's young people, right? So, you know, they call us the boomers of the community here, but you know, maybe it's also a bit of life experience, and these people are too, you know, because it's maybe a lack of business experience, maybe.
I
That's
think
a great point. Go ahead.
I think it's a great. Sorry, I think it's a great point, and I've said that to Ewok before too. Like when you tune into some of these, I can't tell you the amount of times that I have, you know, innocently stumbled into one of these Twitter spaces. And I'm not going to call it X. I just can't call it X. But some of these Twitter spaces over the last couple of years, and again, I won't name names of people, but I'm like, no, okay, no, I wouldn't mind hearing a live conversation about Pulsechain stuff right now. And you go in, and it's like immediately, fuck you, fuck your mother. Like, people are just screaming at each other, and it's like, oh, salient points being thrown around here. It's like, what? Why you know what I mean? I mean, like in a way, I guess it's like, well, hey, there's the community, and hey, the opposite of love is hate, and it's all polarization, and it's good that it's there. I will say, it's better that it's there than a fart in the wind and not even happening. You know what I mean? But I tune in, and I'm like, truly, what is the point of this? And I saw Tam Tam in the chat earlier.
Yeah.
God bless you for being in those spaces. I don't know when something good happens in them, but if you have any pearls of wisdom that happens in them, you can let us know. Because every time I'm in there,
her spaces, we have to separate these. They're the constant ones that are on just because people want to like have friends online because they don't have them on in real life. And then there's Tam Tam spaces, which has more structure and is more about bringing the community together. She hasn't been able to have them for the last couple of weeks because she's been busy in real life.
Yeah.
But she's, I think, a kind of a bastion of hope. She brings some people together to really
She is, but you've seen in some of these, you know, they try to derail that as well. And,
they
you know,
try.
They gave maybe the wrong people the mic for too long, and then it went in that direction. And so,
but it's always been that since the Telegram chat. You know how hard it was. Look, I was an admin. Toby was an admin for years in the Telegram chats. You know how difficult it is to herd cats on the Telegram chat, because somebody wants to get on drunk and they want to talk about, you know, the lint that they found in their navel that night, and you got to say, hey, okay, that's great, land your plane, let's get it back on the topic. we don't really see a lot of, hey, let me reset the room anymore in our Twitter space. Right. It's more like the same freaking guys get together about the same time, and they're just rapping about like the guns that they just bought. Yeah. No, they're not rapping about anything to do with the chain at all. They just want to talk because they, like I said, it's like whatever. But hey, I agree with BB. He said, you know, it's good, kind of good that it still exists. You know, they're waving the flag. At least the title says Pulsechain. But I wonder if we're not putting our best foot forward by having no structure in the chat that actually is pointed toward inspiring, onboarding, and as Crypto Ewok said, educating anymore.
Yeah,
we don't have
for sure. Anybody that would want to come in and ask questions is not going to in the middle of what he's talking about. You know what I mean?
No.
When there's all name calling, they're just going to be like, I want nothing to do with this. So, you know, unfortunately, we need more of that as the patience, like, you know, the Tam Tam streams where people can come in and ask questions and get them answered, and more of a, I don't hate to say safe space, but at least you're not in the middle of crossfire, right? You know?
Yeah, and it should be a bit educational.
Yeah.
What do you think in terms of marketing does it take to turn sentiment around? What was your thoughts when the tablets surfaced? Do you think that is a good thing, and can that help?
You know, it's interesting. Like, we obviously, like everybody else, speculated about what the marketing stuff would be, and we were like, "Oh, I think it'll be like some." We figured it was some kind of LCD screen that would explain things.
For weeks we were like, "What's in the boxes, Richard?
What's in the box?" But
yeah,
yeah,
there you go.
Seven reference there. Yeah, once we saw them, like my initial reaction, and I think most people probably felt the same way, is at first I was like, okay. not what I thought it was going to be. But then I started to think about it, and with the logic that Richard talked about, and I'm like, it's the barrier of entry. It's the low cost, the very high ROI you can have on a marketing device like this. Like, yeah, it's cheap. I think that's purposeful. You know what I mean? And then Ewok and I did this exercise a couple of times on the show where it got me thinking, like, what is the most memorable piece of direct mail I've ever gotten? Like, think about that. Like, not a package I received or somebody sending me a gift. I mean, like a regular USPS, well, here in America, like, you get something in the mail and it's highly memorable. And literally the best thing that I could think of was like a new auto body shop or an auto shop around here that was offering like a discounted oil change, and it gave you like a little keychain. That is the best direct marketing. Like, so that's how low the bar is, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't life-changing. It wasn't money in my pocket necessarily or anything, but I was like, no, you know what? I'll probably use that. It looks flashy. I put it on my keychain, whatever. You know what I mean? That's the best I feel that I've ever received.
Right. Because most are usually just a flyer and no.
Yeah. I got two examples that I brought up on this show. Actually, I think that
not the mug, please.
No. How old are you guys? If you don't mind me asking, are you in your 40s, 50s? What are you talking?
I am still in the 30s.
30s for you, Ewok.
I'm 54.
Okay, so you and I are about the same age. So we'll educate BB because you just said the out-of-body keychain. Well, back in the 70s and early 80s, I mean, we used to get these. Do you remember, Ewok? You would get like your mom would get these things in the mail, and she would want to rip them away from you because you thought it was like your toy that comes in the mail. It's a dehydrated, compressed sponge with like an ad on it, and if you rip it out of the plastic wrap and put it under the sink, it expands into like a sizable sponge. And we kept those around the house, and you use them for all sorts of things, and you were always seeing that ad. And I remember like washing my dad's car with that big old sponge, and like that was mine, it's like, and I saw it all the time, and that stayed around for as long as it lasted, which is about 3 weeks or so. Also, something that has stayed with me for, I would say, 50 years. I've actually protected it and had it and kept it. It's a 7-Up glass that came in the mail. Actually, it was laid off on the porch back in the days before people would like rip off whatever was on your porch.
For the porch pirates.
We got, porch pirates. We got this, remember, like Coca-Cola had a fluted glass, right, as their trademark. Well, 7-Up was marketed as the Uncola. So they made a limited edition collectible, highly collectible, upside down fluted. So like the base is the top is very narrow and the base is very big. And that 7-Up glass to this day, and on this show I've shown it, that was a freebie, and I've kept it for 50 fucking years. And back when I was a kid, that was responsible for buying like cases of 7-Up because of course I wanted the product that was printed on the fucking glass. I needed the Uncola in that glass. So they made their money off of us. And that was all it took, right? Something that sticks around, something that you don't throw away. It was breakable, but I've protected it like fucking, gold. It's my treasure. So I don't think that this is such a bad idea because this thing can last around. It's got a replaceable battery too. That's pretty awesome. Now, this was not like new to me. I bought one of these in Tokyo for $1.10 10 years ago,
Hmm.
right? These were like a big thing in Japan about 10 years ago, but in the States and other places, and this size and for free, it's a nice thing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody who has kids, I mean, you've had one of those in your house. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's it goes back to brand recognition. You want people to recognize those logos, that you want them to say, I've heard of that before.
Yes.
And as with anything, you need about what 5, 6, 7 exposures before you really start to look into something and feel more comfortable or safe with it. So that's all its intention is, I believe. And something cheap, something lightweight, something with the logos, and something that they won't throw away. That's really all it has to be. So
that might just be Rich's main idea, that eventually once we will turn around, we will, right? That people say, oh, yes, Pulsechain, I have seen that before, or the Hex logo, that it's the brand recognition. I work in tourism marketing, and we were running a campaign in my day job. We were running a campaign for a big water park, with slides and different basins and everything. And they had these little rubber ducks with the name of the park on them. And we would just give them out to kids at exhibitions and trade shows and that sort of thing. And we were always debating, these ducks are expensive, but does that actually make sense in terms of a marketing initiative to just send them out? But we came to the conclusion that yes, it does, because the kids play with them and they have them in the bathroom, and and if that duck sits in your apartment for a good year or so, and you constantly see it, and you have the name and the logo with it, and it's kind of similar with these tablets. It's a kid's toy. So the kids will use it and have it in their room, and that sits around the house. You're not going to throw that in the trash bin, and then I think it's mission achieved.
Yep. Until they get moldy.
I think so too. It's all about
they get moldy.
Yeah, right.
Or the dog chews on it. Yeah,
exactly.
I think it's all about the low cost. I mean, that's really what it is. So I mean, people are going to dunk on Richard and stuff while the chain, not while the chain is down, but you know what I mean, while the prices are down, and they see marketing like that, and they have a better idea and stuff. So I mean, it is what it is. I think that maybe we could kind of finish off on this, because I'm curious what you guys think. But I think the big cloud over everything is what happened with everything other than Bitcoin this cycle. Ewok said earlier, we didn't have a bull market, and he's right. And I know there's those gaslighting people that want engagement on Twitter that will say, hot take, this was a great bull market. Bitcoin went to 125,000, Solana went to, and it's like, dude, like everybody, and I'm not saying that we deserve this, that, or the other thing, but I mean, most people, I'll put it this way, a very negative Ethereum forecast for this cycle would have been like $8,000. Like that would have been laughably,
yes.
By standards. We got to a new all-time high for like 2 hours on a Sunday one time. That's all that happened. We got 4,900 for a couple hours. So
yeah, it was like $10 more than the last go around. Yes, nothing to write home about. Yeah.
So I guess that's my question. Ewok and I talk about it every week on our show. What do you guys think about what is happening with this market? I mean, people talk about 4-year cycles, no 4-year cycles. I'm not as worried about Bitcoin anymore. It's more, what is Ethereum going to do against it, and will we ever see altcoin markets like in the past? Because I don't know if we're going to see 2020 and 2021 type gains again, but I mean, I would take Ethereum 8-10K at this point. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, we always look at the Fear and Greed Index, which is what I have up here now. And I made a note to myself that the next time this hits this super dark green, which is sort of the extreme greed area, then I wanted to take something off the off the table, right? And buy back in again when it's super red like it is now. But the last time this has been up here, and this is mostly influenced by just Bitcoin, was when Trump won the election. This was November 24. Actually, when Bitcoin did the all-time high with the 120K, it was here at 60. Like, this is not greed level whatsoever. That's why I think lots of people didn't believe that this was actually that cycle top. So I don't know. I'm still in that, like, I'm still in disbelief that this was the actual cycle top. I think there is still chance for this to turn around. We look at the technical analysis. He's called Gerd van Lagen.
Yay, Gerd van Lagen
on Twitter.
He always cheers me up.
He says this is all just Elliott wave moves, and we are about to enter the last wave before we start to go into the bear market. That's the stuff that he is on, and he's dreaming about a 400K Bitcoin to happen this year. And it seems super far away and highly unlikely right now. But yeah, this is now in extreme fear territory at 14. We've seen it go as low as 5. And this will not go down here. Like, this will pump back. So who knows what's going to happen? I'm still very hopeful that there's a chance for a solid recovery for the whole market. And then maybe also that is what Richard is waiting on, to then come out with the ProveX project, and it'll all be a giant bull run. That's kind of what I can see. Nobody knows, no financial advice, but I think it's a real possibility looking at how the last 2 years have.
But I have a problem understanding how the convergence of this cycle is broken and this cycle is intact. Folks are gonna have to both kind of clash when the next halvening comes, right? So next halvening is not as far away as the year after the halvening, where we're supposed to go fucking apeshit. So what happens when we're like putzing along and we're saying that, oh, we got to have a big bull run before that halvening happens at least, and the halvening actually occurs? That's going to be a lot of, I don't know what to do, because the miners supposedly have to shut down. They have to sell all their goodies to get us into the bear, right? And pay for their electricity and redo all their hardware. By the way, my validators need to be refreshed as well before the next bull run.
It's very cheap to run a validator right now.
It's very cheap, but the hardware is not so cheap.
$250.
But the hardware is not so cheap as my.
But the halvening is a great point, because if you look historically, again, Bitcoin, at the halvening, it's usually at the lows, right?
Yes.
And in the middle of the halvening, between two halvenings where we are now, it's supposed to actually be a bull run, which could be another argument for that a turnaround is maybe in the cards. I know I'm selling hopium here, but I'm here so long. I don't want to give up, because again, the fundamentals have not changed. Everything is still the same. Bitcoin works as it always did. Richard Hart is still the same guy. He has not changed.
But forget Richard.
Opinion.
The OA is still the same. We have an insulation of an incredible stockpile of energy in
the funds are there.
African priest. We don't know what the hell that's going to happen.
The tornado cash thing.
No other community has that, right?
The tornado cash proved that there's still control over all these funds. So
yes,
that's
right.
And also this year, we don't have TA with Toby today, so maybe we can do Toby. We're sending out thoughts and prayers. He broke his pinky foot, and we have live footage of that.
Yeah.
You see here, that is one broken bone right
Damn. Severed bone.
That is terrible.
Toby versus the chair leg.
So shout out to Toby.
Get well soon, Toby. Wow.
Yes, he's MIA. I just wanted to update real quick on this. So this is a weekly chart of Bitcoin, and they say the bottom is the 200-week moving average, which is this purple line here, sitting at currently 58.7, and this coincides with the energy cost allegedly to mine a Bitcoin. that's how much it costs these days. So this would be the ultimate bottom. So everybody's kind of waiting on to hit, for the price to hit this line, or it may even wick underneath it. But if it does, it will, in my opinion, be very short-lived.
Yeah.
And then we should see a recovery. Of course, the Iran news from last night.
That's
dipped
exactly it.
down
Hold on a second, because this is a great full circle type of conversation now. I heard some silly, because I listened to a lot of these, inside government, chats and things, because as everybody knows, I'm a member of Mossad. But anyway, the idea is that one of these dipshits gets up, and I was biting my lip. He says, "Hey, Iran's a big holder and miner of Bitcoin, and when the regime gets hit, all of those Bitcoin are gonna go away, go nowhere." And I didn't want to engage him because I didn't want to fan the fire, but I don't think that a lot of people know outside of crypto bros like us what having a Bitcoin really means, or what a Bitcoin really is, because he's thinking that there's actual components that if they're shut down, the coins disappear. Doesn't understand that they exist on, and I wanted to say, as long as the keys are in somebody's hands, they can walk out of, they just walk, or anything. They walk out of the country and they still can call up their Bitcoin no matter where they are in the world, as long as there's internet. So maybe there's a little bit of weird scare here, and we're getting a dip because some of these idiots are thinking that, or the regime is liquidating. It could be a lot of different things.
Yeah.
If they do have a lot of Bitcoin, maybe they're selling it to get the gold to put it into UAE. Now, not so safe for them, but or Russia, they're getting their goodies into hard assets that they can then, start up their new lives in somewhere else. But then again, the Ayatollah is dead. So
that's the thing, because we dropped on the bombing news, but reversed now on the Ayatollah news. So maybe people think for now it's going to be a quick operation, which would be good for everybody. Gold, of course, moved upwards on Friday, but it's not trading over the weekend, so also smart in that regard. Silver, same story. Oil,
Monday it'll go up.
Oil went up a bit harder, and the stock market plunged downwards. And
did you see the Saudi well got hit? One of the big Saudi oil fields.
A refinery got hit, and this is kind of what sums up the sentiment right now. The stock market waiting to open on Monday.
That looks like the big Fukushima quake in Tokyo to me. That's one of my big memories.
Could be from that. But if I may hand the question back to you, where do you see this with the 4-year cycle? What are your thoughts on this? Is it over, or are we starting a new super cycle?
I don't think we've had a cycle. I don't think we had a top. I really don't. I think it was, like you said, more of an Elliott wave, if anything. And we're still preparing for the next move up. I don't think we had a top. We said it earlier that, Ethereum barely hit its all-time high. Bitcoin did, because there was institutional buying, and every time you turn around, Sailor's buying more or somebody's buying more, but it didn't happen with Ethereum. And now you hear the whole Jane Street thing, right? Were they really suppressing the price? Well, I've been saying it for many months that this action on these charts is not normal. When the price of gold and everything falls as far as it did quickly, there's manipulation that's happening. So hopefully if that nonsense stops and we can see a real price action, maybe we can get back to what the cycle should have been. But again, I don't think we've even had a top yet. I'm still in that mindset. I could be completely wrong, and these 4-year guys could be right and said, "Oh, it's over, it's done." But I still just don't think so. There's
Yeah,
too
you see this
many.
Layla Hepburn, some of the Bitcoin OGs were like, yeah, I told y'all it's October last year that was it.
Yeah.
And now we're going to a bear market. I'm not convinced. But there is a crackdown with this Jane Street. Today is Citadel is next in line, also being accused now of, which is a huge trading firm in the US, also of weird short selling tactics. So it seems like they're really trying to come down on this stuff, which is in a way a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
BB Crypto, what do you think? Are you in the 4-year cycle camp, or are you with Crypto Ewok on the Elliott waves?
The trouble thing, Papa Boner had a great point earlier. He talked about like in the next cycle, the 4-year cycle guys and the non-4-year cycle guys clashing. Basically, I think it's already kind of happening, really, and I think it's mainly because nobody defines what they're talking about when they say 4-year cycle. Like the only person that I've heard actually define what they mean when they speak about it is Bob Lucas, who is,
Yes.
obviously he looks at it like a religion, basically, but. He defines it strictly as like a 4-year cycle is, and still I don't get a full definition from this, but it's cycle bottom to cycle bottom, and then it's also so some people, like by Bob's definition, we could have a Bitcoin top in like June of this year, and as long as it bottoms Q4 of this year, we're still within a 4-year cycle. So, I mean, that to him is what the definition is. Then I hear like Benjamin Cohen talking, who I've never once heard define what he means by 4-year cycle. That says if we did what I just described as topping in June, that would be a super cycle. So I'm not saying these people aren't smart. I mean, they're doing better than I have over the last few years, but I'm just saying that I think people need to define what they're talking about more. And I think the one thing that is more important than any 4-year cycle talk is buy low, sell high. And if you aren't at the opportunity to do that yet, then who cares about a 4-year cycle, really? You know what I mean? I think it's more about like conviction in what it is you're investing in. Yeah, that's why we're all here. We talk about like the ethos of Richard Hart, and like that's the dog that we want to back because of not really seeing anybody else like that in crypto. So, yeah, to me, I'm not saying like it, cycles don't exist or whatever, but I think there's a lot of conjecture about it where nobody really defines what they're talking about, which makes me not that interested in them, to be honest.
A lot of noise out there and not enough substance. I wanted to ask you, with your show, how do you sort of keep, because you go through the news, you do your TA in a way like us, but are you like Hex Maxis pretty much, or Richard Hart Maxis, or are you also interested in other projects on Pulsechain? And how do you manage? Do you let anyone on your show as a guest and shill their stuff, or how do you manage the content?
I think we shy away from new projects. Too many people have been burned by some newer things. Could we cover them? Maybe, but I think it's safer. The price is down across the board, so I mean, we're all in bad shape. So, but Richard hasn't ran away with any money. It's all there. So. Yeah. Whether people have different opinions of what the sacrifice was and what should it be used for, that's a completely different story. But I'm very leery of bringing somebody on like we talked about in the green room, and they turn around and launch a product and take a big sacrifice and then disappear. It's just, I don't want to lead anybody to slaughter, and I think the safest thing is the core coins. Now I'm going to talk about what I have, just like everybody else does, right? And I was in day one of Hex, so I still believe in it. I think it's an amazing product, and not just because I hold it, because nothing else like that exists out there. The paying yourself of the trustless yield, it's unheard of. And
nothing will keep that contract from running.
Nothing will keep that contract from
yes.
That's just line in our intro. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just, I think that's the you have to really walk a fine line when you have a show, because the last thing you want to do is have somebody on and people lose money because of it, and your viewers come back and say, if you wouldn't have had this guy on, I would have never bought that. I would have never lost money. So you have to be careful. Now, there are some neat things out there, but we may talk about them a little bit, but we're not going to promote it. Now, we have had people like KG who design Internet Money Wallet, guys like that who have created products. Happy to have them on and talk about their stuff. So that's where we stand anyway.
Nice. No, it's kind of similar, right, Papa B? We like projects that don't have their own coin.
No, we like all the scammers and bullshit tokens. We love them all. We bring them in and we show them because they give us big bags that then we dump on everybody's head. No, we don't. We don't do any of that either. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I guess we have to wrap it up here. We're running out of time. Papa B, do you have any unfinished business? I think I got most of my questions through.
I don't have any unfinished business because I use a bidet. But you gentlemen, it was a pleasure and an honor to have you on our show. Thank you so much for finally, converging on this time period. It was a pleasure to see you guys. Much respect for what you do and your streams and your quality that you're bringing to the community. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. And let's try to do this again sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us on. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you were welcome, Crypto Ewok. We've been talking about this for 2 years, I think. Trying to schedule it. Today we finally got it.
EJ, there is one more thing, unfinished business. Today, there is a showcasing of Pulsechain on a space today on an X space. I believe it's 9 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
So coming up. So everyone is invited to come on. It's kind of a showcase of 5 different chains, and Pulsechain is up. I got the word from Hextrovert or Extrovert now he goes by, Ty, member of our community. He's also kind of got one leg in another community. So he's bringing emphasis and giving us a platform. So come and show the colors, retweet it out, everyone be there. And let's try to showcase why we are worth following and why we're worth joining on this thing of ours, I suppose.
Yes, everybody go support that. We actually have 130 people watching live right now.
Holy crap!
Can you guys shill your stuff as the last word? Where can people find your show, and when is it on?
Yeah, so neither of us are huge Twitter guys, but if you come to YouTube, Creed of Crypto, that is the name of the channel. Again, we've been doing it for about 4 or 5 years now, week on and week out, every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We like to have a little bit of fun. We got some inside jokes. I'll usually do some weird antics. Ewok has some very good TA stuff that he does. So, I mean, yeah, we like to keep it very structured, and we like to get to like the 5 biggest stories basically, and the chats have been awesome and engaging, even in this disgusting price action, just like it is with you guys' show right here. I mean, these people have been awesome, and I feel like our core audience has been the same way recently. So yeah, we'd love to see you over to our show, and we have a lot of fun. So yeah,
awesome. Crypto Ewok.
Yeah, I mean, likewise, I'm not a huge X Twitter poster or anything like that. I'm Crypto Ewok on there, but yeah, I mean, stop into the show Wednesdays and say hello, even, and have fun with us.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, you guys. Everybody here, smash the likes, follow up, shout out to the chat. Thanks for hanging with us on a Saturday special episode. On a Saturday evening, my time here. We see you guys on the next one, where we have one of the new HEX and Pulschain YouTubers on the show next week, Thursday. His name is Jake, and he is venturing into gaming streams and trying to incorporate the branding of Hex and Pulsechain into his gaming streams. So I'm very
Nice.
curious to find out more about that. And that's what we need. We need the new people, the young people.
Yes.
So we can finally, you guys are
That's
180
manipulate them.
episodes in on YouTube. So we need to ride out into the sunset. But we're not quite there yet. So we still got some work to do. All right. It's an outro. We see you guys on the next one. Salute.
See ya.
See ya.
Outro.